Faith, unlike science, it's fully about passion. We're completely biased. We're completely invested. We've given our life to what we believe. We've already made our judgment. We've already cast our lot. We're not waiting for the rest of the results to come in. We have put our hand to the plow and we're not looking back. This is a huge distinction between Kierkegaardian Christianity and a rational Christendom, or a reason-based Christendom. And so I hope this was helpful for you in getting an understanding of Kierkegaard, the father of existentialism, how his existential ideas affected Christian thought and postmodernism. But usually when you think about existentialism today in the 21st century, you're not thinking of how I've just described it. You're not thinking about this personal relationship with Jesus and faith over reason. And you might think in terms of relativism or subjectivity or things of that nature. And part of the reason is many of the existentialists that came after Soren Kierkegaard were agnostic at best, if not downright atheist or antichrist in the worst case scenarios. So those are the ones I want to talk about next. And leading among them, of course, would be Friedrich Nietzsche, who talked about the will of power. He saw Christianity as a slave religion, who taught people slave values, a slave ethic. Because what do you teach slaves? How do you want them to be? You want them to be meek, lowly, humble, gentle, submissive, long-suffering, forbearing, giving place to others, not given to retribution, not given to revenge. And Nietzsche wanted different kinds of values. He wanted what he called master values, things like honor, courage, bravery, integrity, valor. These were the things he wanted people to have, not these virtues of which he would consider vices or weaknesses of the Christians. He also believed that it was all about a will to power. Were you going to let someone else decide how you're going to be? Were you going to live your own life and make your own choices and be free? Or you were going to be the slave of Jesus or some other religion or some other ideology, social, political, religious? Another famous existentialist was Jean-Paul Sartre, and he was more of an agnostic, and he believed that there really was no purpose or meaning in life. In fact, this type of existentialism looks at life, it's dark, and you have this feeling of angst because there is no point, there is no meaning. If you have meaning in your life, it's because you gave it to yourself, you made it up, but you always know you made it up. And it's as real as you want it to be. Basically, you are the author of your own life, you're writing your own play, and you're the believer of your own beliefs. You are the dreamer of your own dreams. This type of existentialism also talks about how existence precedes essence. It's the things we do that make us who we are. It's not who we are that makes us do the things that we do. And I would say that's very different than a Christian or theistic type of existentialism, where we bear the fruit of the kind of person we are, whether we're of Adam or of Christ. Sartre would say, no, your experiences determine who you are. Your existence or your experiences in life turn you into the kind of person that you are to become. With this type of existentialism, Sartre once said, the greatest act of freedom or choice that you can make is to decide the day in which you're going to die or when you're going to kill yourself. Now, it wasn't that he had suicidal thoughts or was depressed or things like this, at least he claimed that he wasn't, but that really does become the ultimate choice, deciding when to end your own existence. That's, of course, if their belief's true that your existence ends at the grave. If that's a false belief, well, then it's probably not going to work out too well for you if you have an eternity of existence to deal with after you end this mortal life. So what are some of the pros of existentialism? Well, first of all, I love this idea about authenticity. I mean, what a great question. And it's something you should ask yourself on a regular basis. Who are you? Or who am I? When you look in the mirror, who do you see? The voices you hear in your head, whose voices are they? Are they the voices of your society, of other people? Do you do or not do behaviors because of fear of punishment or hope of reward? Because of what other people will think about you? How true are you to yourself? Or how much does your society mold you into its own shape and its own image? How free do you believe you are? Do you take responsibility for your own actions? What are the kind of words that come out of your mouth? Are you always blaming other people or your circumstances? Are you telling your kids, you're making me so angry, or I'm so frustrated, or you make me tired? Is that the case, or are you making yourself tired? Are you making yourself frustrated? Who's really controlling you? Are you controlling yourself, or are you being controlled by outside influences? Who is your master? Is it you or the vices that you serve? So authenticity and freedom, those are huge. I also love this idea about truth being subjective. It really helps you in your discussions with other people. I mean, don't tell other people how they feel or how they think or what they're trying to say. Instead, try to get in and see things from their perspective as much as you're able. I mean, that's called empathy. But, how dare you tell someone else, oh, I know just how you feel. Well, you don't know how they feel. And you might say, sure I do. I lost my mother in a horrible car accident just last year. And my best friend just lost his mother. I know exactly how he feels. Well, you're not your best friend. You don't have the same kind of relationship that he had with his mother. And it's not the same. And you can empathize, you can tell people you're sorry, it must be hard on you, but if someone told me that they knew exactly how I felt, I would just laugh. I'd say, you have no idea what you're talking about. I remember when my nephew came to live with me, he was like 11 years old. I remember one day I told him to take out the trash, and he gave me some attitude, and he was like, you don't even know who I am. And I said, don't give me that existential crap. Of course I don't know who you are. What does that have to do with taking out the trash? Now, get it out of the house. And I don't pretend to know who people are or what's going on or their innermost, darkest, secret selves, but you can listen. You can try and see life from their perspectives. You cannot judge them. You don't have to throw them into categories and judge them by their race or their socioeconomic class or their ethnic group or their dialect or their religious beliefs or all sorts of things. Listen to people. Get to know them as individuals. I'm sure you'd want the same thing for yourselves. Be an individual and treat other people as individuals. And ultimately, this idea of faith over reason. We walk by faith, not by sight. It is by faith that we believe. Belief is a gift of God. And I'm not saying reason is wrong. Reason is a tool, and we should use it for the things reason can be used for. But reason is limited, and there's a time that you just have to lay reason at the door, and you have to take that leap into the arms of Jesus. And if you haven't made that leap, I hope you do.